Ewan, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Oh, thank you. That's pretty cool. Appreciate that, Michael Ellis. Can you guys hear me all right? Nice. Thank you, thank you. So I'm just changing the bevel on this blade here. It's just an Ozark Trail pocket knife, but I am actually changing the bevel to a 21 degree included, 21 degree per side. I am wanting to see if it cuts wood any differently. Hardwood in particular. The longer, more acute bevels that are on some of my knives, they cut great in the softer woods, but when I get into the harder woods, it wants to kind of chip out a bit. So I'm looking for something that's kind of going to give me a happy medium. So I worked up a burr on there, so I'm going to switch up to the 1500 grit. These are diamond stones that I'm using. These are tin bonded diamonds. And then you can move into the resin bonded diamonds, which in my opinion work actually a lot better, but they're a lot more pricey. So I save those for the knives, more of the kitchen knives, more showy knives that I'm looking to get more of a mirror polish. But these ones I'm just looking to have functional. When you guys are sharpening, a lot of times you will hear people talk about in sharpening an included angle. So when you're working with a fixed blade system, to find the included angle of the system itself, what I've got is the angle the blade is sitting on, which this is zeroed out to the center line from the center of the blade. I don't know how well you guys will be able to see this, but so I've zeroed this out. We'll zero this out here. So that goes to 0. We'll move it up top here and see what our angle is, which is about 15 degrees. And then we put this up here. We're looking about 7 degrees. So our included angle is going to be right around 22 degrees for the sharpening jig, meaning our included angle on our blade would be about 44 degrees, which is actually pretty stout. I really want to see how it cuts on some harder wood. Again, just checking for that burr all the way down. When you get into the finer grit diamonds, you will find that you really aren't working up much of a burr after about 1,000, maybe 1,500 grit. The nice thing about these diamonds is I'm putting no pressure on it. I mean, I'm 2 fingers and just letting it glide across. Hello, Donna. Thank you for coming in. Just doing some quick knife sharpening. So I just drug that wood backwards against that grain or against that knife, and I don't feel a burr anywhere. My fingers aren't too sensitive, but I don't. Right here on the tip, I don't know if you guys can hear that difference. It's a little bit of a burr, still sticking up on this side of the tip. I'll work through there a couple more times. And it seems to be gone. So I'm going to check the other side, make sure we didn't just roll it over. And if it's gone, we will strop it. Okay. Actually, you know what? That's only at 1,500. Let's go ahead. Let's jump to a 3,000. Let's put a little bit more of a polish on this edge before we strop it. Certainly not necessary, but definitely nice to see a good edge on there. Now really, if you do anything more than double your grit, you're going to have a very difficult time getting those marks out. So, you can jump from 200 to 400 to 800, 800 to 1,500 to 3 grand. You'll be okay. You don't have to hit every stone you've got, because it will definitely take a lot of extra time, and you're going to find yourself going through a lot of stones that you don't need to use up. So what I'll do is I will sometimes skip back and forth, between if I'm doing some rougher profile, and I'll skip back and forth between my 300 and the the 400 just to make my blades last a little longer. Okay, let's run our strop through there. I am on a compound. Well, I'm out of the stuff that I want to use, but I do think I have some brown over here. So that is better than nothing. So if I can find it. All right, there we go. Let me just use a little brown rouge. Definitely not my preferred. But I am completely out of green, completely out of white. This is a kangaroo leather strop. When stropping, it's just as important to hold the correct angle as when you're sharpening. Actually, more so when you get to a finer, thinner bevel. Because if you're stropping on the wrong angle, you can dull your blade right back up, or you can, depending on how fine your edge is, can roll that edge right over. Back to this side. At this point, this is just to clean that up. I have a loud dog that likes to bark at random motions for no reason. Okay, and that feels good. I feel no more burrs. Everything looks good, so let's pop this up and take a look at it. Gauge what's happening. You see the old Stanley collab. I did see the old Stanley tools on there. That's very cool. So I can get in there and show you guys better. It's tough because it's a small edge. So let's see how it cuts. This is hard cherry wood. Oh, and I like that. So up here in that belly there more, still wanting to grab just a hair right there. But I think that's got to do more with the blade shape. But other than that, it is cutting through a little bit better. It is still a little chippy. Cuts good that way. Cutting good that way. So I'm not going to change all of my blades like this. What I really wanted was one that was good for just, I mean, it's a cheap knife. I wanted something that was good for coming in here and just removing material, roughing it out. And I chose this one because it does have a thicker spine on it. So I can get in there and just kind of wrench those pieces out that I want out of the way quickly. Which will let me come in with something finer and clean it up with nice slices rather than it being chippy. Now this blade I'm using doesn't really need to be sharpened, but I am going to take a stone to it. I will probably jump right to 2000 grit. And I'll just do a quick cleanup on that. Get the balls off a mosquito. Yeah, if they dare get close enough, I'm gonna get to castrating mosquitoes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to 2000 grit here. If you keep up on your blades, you'll have minimal sharpening. Just keep stropping them a lot. When I say minimal sharpening, I mean I am about to sharpen this blade. But the amount of material removed at 2000 grit versus 180 grit. Let me show you, that's 180 grit diamond. But then when you see a 2000 grit, you see the difference there, how smooth this is, how flat. So it's much less aggressive. You're going to remove a lot less material, and your blade material is going to last longer. And one nice thing about diamonds is you can cut dry with them. On the finer grits like this. On the coarser grits, you know, if I'm 400 or below, you come through with I don't use the fancy stuff. This is just a regular COP. This is a Gunzilla COP. It's a cleaner, lube, and protectant. And it works. The way it works is when you spray it a gun. A pew-pew. is you spray it in there, and any debris, any dirt and stuff that does get in there gets suspended in the oil rather than sticking inside the action. And it will work the same with this. It will help the material that you remove from the blade stay suspended in the oil rather than load up in your diamond and just keep getting drug along your bevel. And again, this is what's known as a fixed angle system. If any of you have been watching At West Does It, you'll see that he has made his version of it, which is really cool. And now it looks like I'm playing some kind of instrument, I guess. What would happen? No, WD-40 works in an oil stone. They ran out of oil. So here's the thing: is WD-40 is an oil. It's a penetrant oil, but it's not really a lubricant. The difference between penetrating oils and an oil that is made as a lubricant is one is actually designed to clean. So WD-40 is more of a cleaner than a lube. It would have lubricating properties on a stone, but I would not recommend it on something like a whetstone, because it could actually affect the binding agents that are used to hold that stone together. They're really pressed together sand of different grits. So if you have run out of oil, my recommendation would be water, unless it is a design-specific oil stone, in which case you definitely want to stay away from any kind of oils that foul. So any kind of nut oils or anything like that, any kind of vegetable oils you want to stay away from. Anything that's, if it can go bad sitting on your counter exposed to air, it's going to get into your stone and it's going to go bad. And then your stone's going to be stinking and rotten. So my best advice, if it is an actual oil stone, would just be use it dry if you have to until you can get oil. If you absolutely feel the need to lube it up, I would not soak it in oil, but maybe keep a small spray bottle of oil there, and as you're cleaning and you some swarf build up, give it a quick spray and rinse it away. Okay, so even with this 2000 grit, I already worked up a small burr. The full length of that side. So we're going to go ahead and flip it. I'm going to see if this burr will turn to the other side in just a couple of passes. If it does, I will switch stones. And that burr has flipped, so that means I've worked up a wire's edge. So at the top of the apex, there's actually a thin little wire of metal building up. So I'm going to go from the 2000 to the 3000. Now after 3000, there should be no burr. So I can still feel the burr on this side, but that's because we never flipped it from the 2000. So once I go through it with this here, and because I am working, there's still a burr on that side, I don't want to go up into it this way, because I can roll that burr and drag it with it. So the first couple of passes are going to be down into the bevel, and then I will cut back up into it, and then double check to make sure my burr isn't just rolling, which it's not. So a strop can be used for cleaning a knife edge. It can also be used if you are unable to sharpen it until that burr is gone. The strop can be used to work that wire edge over this way. So when I would run it down this way, it would work that edge up to this side. And then when I flip it, it'll work that wire edge back this way. What you do is you would keep doing that until that wire fell off. And then you'd give it a few more strops. It would clean that up, the area where the wire was. And you're good to go. So a strop comes in very handy. Very useful in knife sharpening. Okay. When it feels good, we'll inspect it visually. Make sure there's nothing obvious. One tiny little spot there. There we go. And that is gone. So we'll switch over to the strop. I want to get a little bit more of this on because it is definitely not as aggressive as the green. There's not as much grit in it. It's dedicated oil, and I can't swap to water now. It's already got oil in it. Motor, I would definitely stay away from motor oil. Viscosities are all wrong. So I would just continue to use it dry gauge, honestly. Light pressure and use it dry until you can get more honing oil. Unless you have, do you have any sewing machine oil or just standard 3-in-1 oil? Just being that it is a dedicated oil stone, you really don't want to contaminate it at this point. Especially if it's a decent stone. Okay, so feels real good. Give a couple more cleanup passes here. Three in one, yep. I think that's the way I would go. Give this a quick little cleanup here. This here is one of my favorite knives. This is a Columbia River knife and tool. They say CRKT on the blade. Some people call them crickets. But this is one that my wife got me for my birthday last year. And I got some oil on the handle still, so clean that off. When it's micarta scales, satin steel on the handles. Well, these are aluminum, and then it's got the D2 blade. And this is a Ken Onion Jr. design. If anybody knows who Ken Onion is, this is his son's first knife design. He did a collaboration with his dad. But there's our knife edge on that one. And that cuts real nice. I mean, effortlessly. You guys saw how much effort it was taking with the one that I sharpened at a wider angle. Even up here at the tip here, cuts through real nice. All the way in the back, cut through effortlessly. So that one's good to go. I'll clean that one up. And we'll set that one aside. Now we got a big one that's all dirty and been abused, been used out in the yard, and it doesn't want to cut anything. I mean, I was pushing in there. It doesn't want to cut. So that is a good knife to stick in here and show you guys really the benefits of a fixed angle system, because I can already see that this blade is very uneven. Make sure it's good and tight, because we don't want this moving. Not just for safety reasons, but once we start this, we don't want to cock it, because any movements that we make are going to change your angle. And I mean, it's not all that important if it's just a knife you're carrying in your pocket, but if you're trying to carry any kind of precision, then you're going to want to maintain that same angle throughout the whole sharpening process. So because this one is in such rough shape, I think we will drop back to, you know what, let's go. These do cut so well. I think I will first go with a 400 grit tin bonded diamond. First thing I want to check is my angle, because this blade is sticking out farther, so I don't want to just assume that it's going to be at the same angle as the last one. Remember that last one we just sharpened ended up being about 18 degrees on the blade. The first one was about 21 degrees per side. So make sure we're zeroed out. And I'm zeroing out to the plate. regardless of what I'm had the plate on, I'm zeroing it out to the plate. So we'll zero that out. And we're looking at about 15 degrees there. And another 6 degrees there, so we're at 21 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this one up. This is a bit thicker. I think I can go thinner on it and achieve a real nice bevel. So where that puts us now, see there. Yeah, I'll just do it this way and tell you here. Okay, so now at 13.5 degrees there. And 6 degrees here. So I'm down to like 19.5 degrees. So I think I like that there. We'll try and see what it does for us. You can hear that difference in cutting. Pro tip, when you're using any baking soda for anything, which I use for super glue, put it in. Thanks for the tip. It's changing that blade shape pretty quickly. And again, I start down just to make sure there's nothing that I'm going to catch and drag up on the blade when I come up this way. I do prefer to cut into the blade with the coarser stones. But that is just a personal preference. You also want to watch your bevel to make sure that you're staying even all the way along it. Very easy to do with a knife like this because it's got the black blade. So it's easy to watch the thickness of that exposed bevel as silver edge shows up. And I can show you guys on the next knife how to watch that without having that guide. So this bevel back to there. So this bevel is definitely uneven. So I need to work this edge more. You can sharpen a knife without having these bevels even. But will it be an evenly sharpened knife? And will it actually cut and track straight through the cut? That's a different story. That's much better. Just a few more passes and they'll be caught right up to each other. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay. So that was our 400. So from 400, we'll jump up to 800. Load in. This particular knife, we're going about, what were we at? 18 per side. This knife here is at 21 per side. Using that one for cutting into hardwood. And I found that the more acute angles were actually causing it to be chippy through the wood rather than getting nice slices. But the wider angle took care of that. Now that we know we got our bevel good, I'm really just watching my knife marks, or my cutting marks now, to see that I removed everything from the previous stone. I've got a burr everywhere but at the heel of this blade, so I get a burr worked up. And we've got a burr worked up in the belly, but not at the tip and out back here. There we go. Don't mean to be a pain, but can you show me how you get your angles? I have a setup like that. Sure, no problem. So, do you have an angle finder? This is important. Get yourself a digital angle finder. This one was cheap, about $12. You may be able to find them cheaper than that, but don't spend a lot of money on it. This one happens to be magnetic, but it does no good because this is all aluminum. So what you do is this flat spot here is ground flat to the center line of your jig, which is where the center of your bubble is. So zero it out down here on your base. I'm at 0. Bring it up and check here. We're 13.5 degrees. But that's only 13.5 degrees to the base. So now we have to add where we're at to the existing bubble. So with your stone on that you're going to sharpen with, make sure we're still zeroed. We're going to set it on the flat part here, and you'll see we got about 6.5 degrees. So this knife will actually end up being 20 degrees per side with 13.5 and 6.5. So the two of those together will give you this included angle. Not the included angle of the bevel. The included angle of the bevel, if this setup is at 20 degrees, would leave the knife included angle at 40 degrees. So make sure when you are, if you're reading something, watching something, and they are talking about included angles, if you're dealing with fixed angle sharpening systems, make sure you are listening and that they are either talking about the angle of your jig or the angle of your bevel, because they will be different by half. So if they refer to an included angle per side, what they're referring to is your jig. Cool Gadget says Tocqueville. Is that how you say that? Tocqueville? So this is a Zerilk Gen 3. They've got many that they make. But, it's very effective. And it's got a great price on it. You can actually pick this one up on eBay. And it comes with, it will come with these 3 stones. You will get a, you'll get a 320, an 800, and a 2000 grit with this setup here. The setup will not come with the stop shear. Or the spring. That's something that I added. You will get just the base, the rod here with the stone holder, the 3 stones, and it also does not come with this clamp. It comes with these clamps instead, which are more for kitchen knives or longer fixed blade knives. But you're looking, under $90 with shipping for the basic set with the 3 stones. And everything I have here, with all of these other stones here, the resin bonded diamonds, the angle gauge, the stops, the spring, the extra clamp, my little precision screwdriver kits for working on the blades or for the knives. All of that, everything I have, including the case that I got to put it in. It's not a Pelican case. This is an Apache 5800. I'm all in. I'm less than $300 for everything. which you can't touch most sharpening systems for that. I mean, even a basic system, and I've got everything I need for it. And again, the nice thing about diamonds, one of the nice things is I'm cutting dry right now. It's staying very clean. The stones don't load up, and when I want to clean the stones, I give them a quick rinse with some just mild just soap and water, and give them a real good dry. And because these ones are tin bonded, I'm good to go. These ones here I don't wash because these are resin bonded. But those are all such high grits that I'm not very concerned about load up or swarf or anything like that. Anything that does get caught up in those by that point isn't going to damage my bevel. Okay, I'm going to kick that burr back up. I'll drag it back down. And it flipped right to the other side. So I can go ahead and change this up. I'm going to go from 800, I'll jump up to 1500. There we go. So this copper set of stones, made by the same company, Zeroke. 6 stones, 6 of these, $20. Can't beat it. You'll be able to sharpen hundreds of knives with these at least. Possibly thousands of knives if you really take care of these stones and don't abuse them. Tungsten is what tungsten? I'm sorry, Robert. Are you asking, are the stones tungsten? These are aluminum backed. Well, these ones are copper backed, and these are just plain aluminum backed. And then they are tin bonded diamonds on top. Cy, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. You can see that Lions Fixes Shop there. You guys want to watch some quality carving, somebody that knows their shit, that's a place to go. If you're looking for somebody who's full of shit, you're in the right place. Getting a little bit of a squeak in my jig here, so it's the first time, so we'll get that a little lube. There we go, much better. Much better. You know what you're doing. I've got many knives sharpened under my belt. Used to use just a handheld whetstone. But when I started having weird neurological issues and there was the risk of that going poorly, I started looking into this fixed angle system. Because when I'm holding a whetstone and I really get going sharpening a knife, I take on this circular pattern and I can hold that angle. But I found what would happen if I started having any kind of issues was I would end up stabbing myself in the side of the hand, or just from kind of zoning out while I'm doing it. It became such second nature that, I don't know, I'd almost forget I was sharpening a blade, as silly as that sounds. But if you ever had any kind of seizure or know anybody that has, then you understand what it is to sort of go absent. So this way is much safer, because the worst that happens is I zone out. I just sitting here rubbing this back and forth, or I just stop sharpening altogether. So it is definitely much safer, but it is very effective. We'll just keep working that burr back and forth now with this 1500. Like I said, with the diamonds, it cuts so clean that burr generally takes itself off long before the stropping, and that stropping becomes just kind of a cleaning step rather than really part of the sharpening. As far as breaking that wire's edge off, using a strop for that is more important when doing this, just all by hand with the stone and not any kind of a jig. Okay, now I just want to make sure we're staying even with our bevel. And that looks pretty good. So I'll go for my 1500. I'm going to skip over the 2000 and I'll go right to the 3000. Wherever I may have put that. There we go. Amazon. So this sharpener here I got from eBay. Actually, everything that I bought here came from eBay or Amazon. This was eBay, and it was like 85 or 90 bucks with shipping, and it came with 3 stones. It came with this 2000 grit, an 800 grit, and a 320. So I bought this 6-pack here. And the 6-pack came, and it's a 180. Yeah, we got a 180, a 400, an 800, 1500, 2,000 and 3,000, and that set was on Amazon for $20 from the same company. These were on sale. I got these for like $7 a piece at Harbor Freight. Just little precision screwdriver kits. This set here was pricier. These stones here, these 4 stones were $50. And hello, Benner, how you doing? And then the kangaroo leather strap was $15. You can get straps that are thinner leather and cheaper leather. That will work. Well, to be honest, I just wanted the thicker kangaroo leather one. That and these resin bonded diamonds are the only ones that I have. These are like Gen 3 with the Hapstone Universal. So this is not a Hapstone. If you get the Gen 3, it actually comes with this. Are you entertained by my cord down there, little puppy? Huh? Where? There it went. Okay, that's feeling good. It's looking good, which is less important than it feeling good. So a few more passes and we're off to the other side. Honestly, if you guys, any of you are interested in anything like this, save yourself a bunch of money. There's a sharpening system out there. I won't mention the name. It looks just like this. One is $1,400, and then there's one that comes in a fancy wooden box that isn't waterproof like this. It doesn't have the customizable foam inserts like this, and they want $1,700 for that, which means you're paying $300 for a wood box. Which, don't get me wrong, it's a cool wood box. It's like a wooden crate, but it does nothing to change the effectiveness of the tool. So the nice thing about this is, I could take this to a barbecue or something, be sharpening knives for folks. And if it starts raining, in the waterproof box it goes. Okay. Well, it's already in the jig. Let's have some fun, and let's go ahead and take this one up to a mirror polish. Anybody want to see that? Or do you just want to move on to the next knife? Yeah, that's the one. A Danma 17, that is the one. Yes, my first live was this Benner. I get the best results strap from MDF metal polish. Yeah, MDF is good. I've actually looked at some of these. They call them paper wheels, but they're actually cardboard wheels for stropping, and I mean it's power stropping. You see them on the people's bench grinders. They'll say it's for sharpening, but unless you have the one with the aluminum oxide grit on it, it's really just power stropping. But no, I agree. Those are very cool. I made one that I didn't glue together very well, so after a couple knives, it blew right apart. It's fairly comical. Where's my Uncle put Vaseline? Yeah, we don't need that here, Pounder 5000. It's you know, you say stuff like that. People like that belong in prison, and you are making jokes about it. That's horrible. But hey, if that's your thing, by all means, do it. Just take it somewhere else. Well, then go turn your uncle in. You were in the wrong place to be crying about it. We can't do nothing about it. So go report your uncle that did you dirty. Next time you see your uncle, click on the 3 dots. Click report. So I'm still working this at the 3000, but I'm working it much lighter pressure than I was when I was initially. Really, all I'm doing is changing my scratch pattern back and forth and looking where it's hitting, making sure I have no flat spots, no high spots, because a mirror finish is going to show up all imperfections. So if I'm going to take it that far, I might as well do it right. The shinier you get metal, the more flaws you can see. So that's at 3000 tin bonded. So now I'm going to jump to a 3000. This is a 3000 resin bonded. They're by DMD. So it's still 3000 grit, but this is a resin bonded diamond. I'm going to get a completely different cut than I just did at the same grit. I don't know if you guys can hear the difference. How much smoother it is. You want to make sure that you're working back to the heel of the blade, not just from here out, because if you start there, you come out, the back of that is not going to get cut, and you'll end up at the heel of the blade, this will start kicking out. You can actually see on the factory grind where that's kicking out some. That'll get worse and worse over time. So ideally, I will take that and grind that down flat so that my bevel runs all the way back. Definitely not necessary, but to have a bevel that's like visually true from the tip all the way back to the heel, it makes a big difference. Functionally, it really doesn't. So what I'm checking now is that I have no tool marks left, no grinding marks, no cut marks, whatever you want to call them, from that 1500 grit. And I do have just a couple on this side. That took care of everything but right up here at the front. But that cleaned it right up. So that was our 3000. I'm going to jump to our 6000 grit. And again, I'm still using just dry diamond stones. They like to cut dry. So it saves you on all kinds of cutting solutions or oils, or saves you the mess of cutting with water. And once I have the shop in my basement set up, I will be looking at making some knives. Right now, getting things in order and getting some materials stocked up. We're definitely getting there. When I'm done with this one, I'll show you the difference between the two sides. See, at 6000 grit, it's getting sharper, but I'm not so much shaping the blade as I am polishing now. Clean this side off so you can see the difference. We'll bring it down here. Let's see if we can pick this up. Okay, so that's that side. When we look at this side, I don't know if you guys can see the difference there. But I'm going to go ahead and take this to a mirror, and then I can hold it up with both hands and show you guys the difference. The nice thing about this fixed angle system, even though my table is wobbly, this angle is not changing. I can move all day long and it's not affecting anything. Okay, so that's good at 6,000. Get my stones back in order here. The nice thing about the resin bonded set is it is color coded. So, you know, I know if I grab the blue one, I'm at 12,000 grit. All these other ones, I've got to sit and look at the markings on them and figure out which one is which. Okay. Now we're at 12,000. I don't know if you guys can hear the difference. Dance Creations, welcome in. Yeah, let's get rid of that. We don't need to see that. Well, this is a nice piece of kit. I don't agree with that. It's very affordable here in the States. So once I've got all my lines going this way, and I can get an inspection on it. When I say lines, they are very, very tough to make out as lines, but the lighting is right. And you can see your lines change. Once I have all my lines are good, I know I've got nothing left from the last stone. Which I'm very close. I'm going to change up my method here, and I will go from this cutting action to a more of a polishing action. There's clean little wiggles through here with next to no pressure. And boy, is that shining up. I'm not sure if my phone is even capable of picking up how shiny that is. It might just glare out the screen. What sharpener is this? This is a Zerilk. It'll be backwards, but it's a Zerilk. And this is the Gen 3. And yeah, I would put this up against a lot of other fixed blade sharpeners. I mean, I would put this up against some high dollar sharpeners. So after 12,000 grit, there is absolutely no need for a stropping. Just make sure it's good and clean with the stone. And now it is, I mean, I can see the edge of that stone all the way down to the tip. There's no wiggles, no wobbles. And what I'm looking at is a reflection of the edge of the stone on the bevel. Because if there's any flaws, they're going to show up. You'll see that reflection get kind of a squiggle in it, or you'll see a line through it. And the only place I'm seeing it is on this side, or right up at the tip. Very little. So we'll polish that out, and then we'll give this a look. I'll hold it up to the camera for you. Now again, I've used no kind of solution in the sharpening. This is just dry diamonds. Okay, and I will show it to you before I put any kind of cleaner on it, so you know it's just the dry edge of that bevel that looks like this. There's no magic tricks here. It definitely does a nice job. So we'll go ahead and give it a little cleanup. This is again just a CLP. It's cleaner, lube, and protectant used in pew-pews. Right, you can see how nice it cleans up. It got all that gunk off that blade, just a few wipes, no scrubbing. It's cleaned it all off real nice. So get the whole knife a quick wipe down. And this will get any grease or anything off the knife. Guys, remember, oil is one of the best things to remove grease. Oil and grease do not exist in the same spot very well. So what I mean by that is, yeah, let's say your garage door is sticky. You should be applying grease to that because garage doors are greased. So if you go and you spray oil in there, that will actually start breaking down your grease and quickly make your garage door worse. So if you've got grease built up in here and stuff like that, the best way to clean it out is not with water or any kind of alcohol, anything like that. It's with some oil. It'll break it right down. I guess it's kind of along the lines of using, you know, peanut butter to get gum out of your hair. The oils in that are what's actually helping to break that down. Okay, so that is clean. I'm just going to take a little microfiber and so there's not a ton to blade maintenance. It's really just remembering to do it. But big difference in the blade and how it looks, how the bevel is. You know, it's just a little bit of lube and protectant. Get that all the way down. I think he's more referring to the polishing movement. Does polishing take away from the sharpness? So polishing will not take away from the sharpness if you maintain that bevel angle. If I were to use something like a polishing wheel, I could most definitely round the bevel over. But polishing that did not make it dull. You know, that's a thick blade. I should grab something I can actually hold on to. I got the smallest piece of wood. Now, you know, keep in mind, this is a pocket knife, not meant for carving. It is doing a good job of getting into that wood. You can see it's cutting the wood. You can see that because of where it's stopping. It's not splitting the wood. So, would I recommend this as a carving knife? Not at all. Let's see, I got a little piece of paper sitting here. It's sharp. So even after dragging that bevel through that wood, well, not dragging it, forcing it through that wood, it cut the paper like that. I'm gonna grab some more paper. Okay. So this was the first one we sharpened, and we put a more obtuse angle on there. We are at 25 degrees on this one because I wanted to see how that one would actually carve wood at 25 degrees, and it does a pretty good job. It is sharp. We already checked that one. This is our bamboozled that we went to 18 degrees on, but we only took it to 3000 grit. And it is sharp. It is a cutter. One and only dice. I have a sub. In the knives. I want to buy one. You want to buy one of these? Go look on Amazon. It is called the, I know it's backwards, but it is a Zorilk. Here, let me pull this down and show you. Knives for me. You want one of my knives? Well, that's interesting. I am not set up to do anything like that. To sell knives, and I am I'm a young channel. I'm not monetized, so I really have no way of doing that. You could email me. I don't know. Maybe we could work something out. It's beard.grooves@gmail.com. Just like my name up there at the top, Beard Grooves, but beard.grooves@gmail. So this one here, this is just an old Gerber. And it had these horrible serrations on it that were all bent back and forth. So what I did is I ground them flat this way and took the actual serrations off the teeth and then put a bevel on straight through it. And that one there, if I stay away from them, teeth back there, see, it's still got a big nasty burr on it. I don't know if it'll show up. Well, there's a big burr on there. So let's go ahead and knock that burr off of there. Okay, so let me get you in here closer, and I want to show you the Sharpie trick. Can you guys see that knife blade okay? There we go. Okay. So I stuck in a knife that's already got a real nice edge on it. You know, it looks like a mirror polish. So I want to clean that edge up. I don't want to change the angle of that knife, and I don't know the angle of that knife, okay? So what I'm going to do is take a Sharpie, and that bevel is now black. So now what I will do is take one of my fine stones, one that's not going to do any stock removal, but I don't want one that's going to make big changes. So I've got two of these 2000 grit stones. So I used the cheaper one of the two for this. So I'm going to want to take a spot and just give it a partial pull through there. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, where it's hitting. I'm only hitting on the very front of that bevel, which means I need to tip this way. Whoop. So I'm going to loosen this up. I'm going to raise this up. And I'm going to start just checking to see where I'm hitting. We're getting close. That's a very long angle I put on this. Which is a hair too far, just a hair. You guys see how that erased my hole mark now? Top to bottom, from my whole bevel. So I'm cutting from the top of the bevel to the bottom of the bevel. So if I were to flip this and repeat that Sharpie trick, I'll show you again. Now that we've actually got our bevel. You can see the edge but with an unknown angle. So we blacken our bevel. And now when we come through with the stone, you can see where it's hitting. Okay. So now that I know that, it is hitting all the way across. If I wanted to know my angle, I could work this backwards now instead of setting my angle. So now I'll come here and I will zero this out. I'm at 0 degrees there. I'm at about 8.5 degrees there. We got 8.5 and 8, somewhere about 16.5 degrees is my included angle. Put my goofy goggles on here for a second. Yeah, it's hitting a little unevenly. So I'm going to correct that. I'm going to bring that up about 1/2 degree before I get too far. See if I like that better. And I forgot to take this 2000 grit back out of here, so we'll be here all day doing it that way. So, jump down to the 800. We'll see how that's cutting. Hi, back. What's happening? Let's back you back up out of here. Okay, boy, it's like a razor up there, so I will work on these serrations. And this one I'm not going to worry about taking back to a mirror polish. We're just going to get it good and sharp. But for those of you that didn't get to see the mirror polishes, here's one here. So that bevel got a nice polish on it. There we go. Yeah, I mean, you can achieve a mirror polish with the resin bonded diamonds down as low as 3,000 grit. Really at about 6,000 grit. If you get very, very light with your passes, you can get rid of most of your tool marks. But man, that 12,000 grit, when you get there, it's a game changer. Like I said, there's no need for stropping after that. So I think we'll step through that one more time, and then we will change grits. We'll jump up to 1,500. You guys can see how this is sitting. When I looked at a lot of these other ones, the Work Sharp it's called. Man, I thought it was so cool when I first saw it. When I watched a guy use it, and as he was sharpening his knife, this whole section here was flexing down with every pass. He'd come through like this, and this whole jig would flex down. which to me does not scream fixed angle if it's constantly pushing and changing. Look at it, even at 800 grit, our burr, from working it back and forth with the diamond, our burr is almost non-existent. So I'm going to jump to the 15. I'm not saying you don't get a burr with the diamonds, because you certainly do. It's just that if you spend enough time working it back and forth, it eliminates the need for stropping altogether. Or if you work your way up through the grits enough, there's no longer a need for stropping. I still strop, with just a regular strop between uses. But after this initial sharpening here, there's no need for stropping. And this knife is, it's old. It's been through some abuse. So it's going to take a couple more sharpenings before this bevel is exactly how I want it. Sharpening, it's a lot of stock removal. So obviously knives that are abused take longer, as you can see. Knives that are regularly maintained just need a quick touch-up. See, from this side of the bevel, the blade looks great. But when I flip it over, I can see a flat spot in the bevel. Okay, we're just that spot for a second. Oh, much better. Much better. Well, it's just at 1500 grit. So even down at 1500 grit, if your bevel's right and your cuts are good, it's going to slice nice. And I think we'll just stop there at 1500 because this is really just a utility knife at this point. Banging around in the yard and in the garage and such, so. So again, this clamp here does not come with this set. You will get these clamps instead that mount on here, one on each side. So you would have this here sticking out. And it's a slicer, even at 1500. So that's where 1500 leaves you. And I intentionally went with a much longer angle on this because this is a thicker knife and I do use it like a utility blade. And it slices right through like a razor. Let's see. What's happening? Here's one of the other knives that we did. This one went to 12,000 grit. I wish I had a camera that would really get in there. Let's switch here. You can see that edge. That is my skylight showing in that edge right there. And here's my other skylight. Come on, focus. It looks like a burr, but that's actually from cutting the paper. So I'll clean that off. And there you go. It's just lint from cutting the paper. Oh, I gotta fire my camera guy. There we go. So they are slicers now for sure. And again, for anybody that didn't hear me, this everything that I have involved in this is under $300. There is a good picture of it all laid out on Wes Does It community page. But I'll get some of this cleaned up here and show you. This sharpener I'll tear this down and show you. Long threads. Okay, so this clamp, this is the $30 clamp. Got this from Amazon. This does not come with this. This is a small blade and a pocket knife blade clamp. But what you will get with it is these guys here. And they just mount on here. I'll just put one on because these are long threads. They take forever to put on. So that would mount on like so. And you would have two of these that can then slide back and forth. But then this is the closest that you can get those together, which, as you can see, is almost the gap that this covers. So that's why I went with this Y clamp, is what this is called. This is great for longer blades. The one that is on Wes's page, clamped in this, is a Japanese like shelf knife or vegetable knife. And that's got a 9-inch blade on it, and it's clamped out there like this. And having these clamps spread apart like that is nice to keep the blade from flexing. But with these short stout blades like this, not only is it better to have something that can clamp on this whole area here, but these thick blades just are not going to flex like that. Now, this guy here, where'd it go? This is my, this is called the Bamboozled Columbia River Knife and Tool. And this one is, this one cut up, or sharpened up real nice. And it too is, it does a nice job cutting. And that's obviously just the bark coming off. But now that we're into the wood, cuts through the wood nice. Cuts through the paper nice. Yes, I agree, Wes. So this one here, I've been using a lot on the bowls. I used it a ton on the hammer, as well as this little guy. This is also a Columbia River Knife and Tool. This is called their CEO. And this one's got a thumb stud. There's one known as the CEO Flipper. And it is basically the same knife, but instead of opening with the thumb stud here, it's got a flipper in the back, much like this knife here. So that's a flipper. This here is a flipper. When you see that sticking out of there, that's a flipper. And that's what that does. So this same knife is available in a flipper. This one I got on eBay. Ended up being $19 with free shipping. Christmas time. Christmas time is the time to buy knives. The same one in the flipper is $10 more. Why? I don't know. But this one is also a really nice carver. especially right up there at the tip. I get all kinds of precision. I really like that tip, take those small, precise cuts like that. What that allows me to do you guys can see how smooth that's getting. But, I will carry that across there and get rid of those tool marks with this, those knife marks. And it just leaves really nice cuts, which is how I was able to go over that mallet head. Focus. Let me get some of that out of the way. Got all these curls in the way. Okay. So you can see it's still a bit rough. But with the tip of that, I can take these nice controlled cuts. And they leave me with that. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, if it's showing up or not. What we got here? Why does my autocorrect ruin your name? An AI short. Yeah, I hear you, Hybeck. I made a short. I clicked the little remix button over here off to the side when you're watching a short. And maybe had a little too much herbal therapy one night, and I clicked that button, and I was sitting here, and I was laughing for about 30 seconds. And I says, man, I don't know how I feel about this. And because of that, I hit the delete button, because I thought it was the only right thing to do. I was thinking, I didn't get permission from anybody to do this. This isn't my video I did this to. So, I just got rid of it. And if you guys do not have a set of these goofy Doc Brown goggles, I highly recommend them. The ones with the lights on them, they don't do too much. Oh, they just sit there and end up with dead batteries. So I generally put batteries on one side, because that's a waste of batteries if not. But this one's got different lenses. Flip down. It's got this one fixed, and then this one here you can flip down for more magnification, and then this one you can flip down for more. So if you're getting aged and your eyes are gone, no shame in grabbing something like this to see what the hell you're doing. Time is it? Oh, I should probably think of getting something to eat here. I hear eating is good for people. The nice thing about this Y clamp is it only fits on there in one spot. So you don't have to worry about having it lined up in the center. It really centers itself. Whereas these ones here, they'll move all over the place. I like it. Somebody AI'd me into a video. Weird. Yes, I saw that. How do you like it? How do I like this? I'm sorry, Wes, I didn't see that. Okay. All right, so again, I'll go through this and show you guys. So it's the Zerilk Gen 3. What you've got here is a stone compensator. So before I started, you take your stones and you set them up under that plate and you lock it down. Now, if you go to a thicker stone or a thinner stone, you will do the same thing. You'll put your stone under there and you lock it down before putting the stone in the stone holder. That will maintain that angle. Because if I were to put a thicker stone in here right now and not use a stone compensator, I've just changed the angle on my fixed angle system. So back here you've got your lock. And as you can see, I'm dropping the angle down, making a very blunt angle all the way up, very acute. You know, some of the fancier ones have got numbers on here, but none of that really matters because this number and this number added up, your included angle is what you're after. And this was only going to tell you one side of it. So right now, zero that out. So we're at 0. We're looking like 8.8 degrees there. 8.8. Imagine I had a blade in there that it was resting on. 8.8 plus 6.3 is my included angle. This set does not come with the stops. I bought these little collar stops, just 1/4-inch collar stops, and I threw a spring on here. That spring is so I'm not slamming the stop into that back there. And then down here you've got, on this side you've got a lock for your angle. And on this side you've got your lock. Flip your knife, work the other side. Again. Maybe smoke some, Ken. That's that's what I do to get my head right. Without the herbal therapy, I cannot sit still long enough to do this. I'm just bouncing off the walls, starting 10 different things and finishing none of them. So this set comes with a 2000 grit, and 800 grit, and a 320 will come with this, and that's like $90. So that puts you in 3 stones, the sharpener, the sharpening rod, and another $20 will get you this set of stones. And I'm missing one somewhere. That's 3. So we got 1500, 3000. What am I missing? I'm missing my 2000 grit gold. Kangaroo leather strap. Ah, there, it fell right off the front. Okay. So this set of diamond stones is $20 on Amazon through the same company, Zerilk. If you buy all of this off of Amazon, you're going to spend quite a bit more money. So if you're interested in this, I would get the accessories from Amazon and get the actual machine from eBay. This set here is the resin bonded diamonds. It's through DMD, and that's four stones. You're going to get a 1000 grit, a 3000 grit, a 6000, and a 12,000, which is everything you need to take a blade to, to take the bevel to a mirror finish. So, other than that, all I did is went and got one of these Apache 5800s. And cut it out so that that sits in there like that. And I didn't want a big hole there, so I kept that piece cut so that I can pack that right down in there like that. Got an extra Allen key there if I need it. This piece here unscrews there. That comes down and sets in there. And then I've got room for all of my boxes of stuff, all of my precision screwdrivers and stuff can sit down in there real nice. So what I generally do is pack those up under here, one on each side. And that keeps those from flopping around. Tuck my rod in here. On these sides, I tell you guys, I'm going to fire my cameraman. He is terrible at this. This stuff here, guys, this is what I use for my knife lube, like pivot lube, and I also use it for this pew pew grease. But it is amazing. It's a synthetic. Well, it's backwards for you. This is TW25B. It's made by a company. And I mean, I don't know if you notice my knives open. I mean, they open like grease lightning. And that's from this stuff here. Again, this is a product that will hold any kind of debris that gets down in your bearings or anything like that. Or if you've got like nylon washers in there, brass washers, whatever kind of setup you have, any debris that gets in there will be held in suspension by this. Cool thing is with that is I take some CP or the CLP, give it a few sprays, work it in there a little bit. It actually will break this down and clean it out, and I can reapply this. Well, after I spray it with some alcohol and let it dry. Because again, oil and grease do not mix. But being this is a synthetic grease, it's not that big of an issue. So I like to keep my stones together and in order. Here, go in here. This is for cleaning my resin bonded diamonds. If you remember earlier in the video, I was saying I will wash the tin bonded diamonds in soap and water, but I will not do that with the resin bonded diamonds. Those ones there, I will take this and leaving it flat, I will just work it back and forth and clean that off. You can see how the gunk it's pulling out. You just want to make sure you are doing it flat and with even pressure. And what this will do, you don't want to do it too often, because what that is doing is actually not just cleaning, but it's exposing more diamond. It goes there. I always keep a big fat Sharpie in here for the Sharpie trick that we showed. My angle guide goes right here. And I have found that I need to find something to hold just what I need, because if I have extra space, I will fill it up. These are just some Q-tips for cleaning down in the knives, which actually we can leave that out and do some cleaning here real quick. And I can actually show you guys a couple of things. Maybe we'll do a little bit of knife maintenance here. But as you can see, that all packs in there very nicely, closes up easy, and it is now portable. I can take that with me wherever. You know, I've taken it to friends' houses and stuff and sharpened up their kitchen knives. It's usually a thing I'll do more around the holidays and such. I figure I'm already going to be there. People are carving hams and turkeys and whatnot, so it's nice to give them a nice sharp carving blade or chef's knife to work with. I don't have a lot of money for gift giving, so I try to give gifts using what I can do. And I've gotten a ton of compliments on this. And some people don't compliment. They just kind of stop and stare. I don't know if they realize they're staring, but I think it's kind of cool. What's up by Dan? What's happening? Okay, let's change this up a little bit. Okay. Let's see. So this would be a good one to show. I think. Yes, so you guys can see how that knife is all the way to one side. It should be centered like that when it closes. You guys see that? Hello, Skadoob. How you doing today? So I'm going to show you how to fix that when a blade is off center. And this is, what do we got there? T8 maybe? Most of these are like a T6 or a T8. And that's a T8. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up here. This is one of the goofy ones that has a T8 on each side, which is why I have two sets. There. So I'm going to take this pivot and break that loose. I mean, sloppy loose. You guys can hear. That is not how we want our blade when we're done, but that's how we want it for cleaning and for doing our maintenance. So first thing I'll do is give it a good blowout. Get my rag under here so I'm not making a big mess. Get some of that on there. And we'll just start cleaning out everything we can around the pivot, both sides of the blade. We're going to break our Q-tip. That wasn't intentional. I just was a brittle stick. Clean that out all the way to the bottom. We'll get out all the dust, all the pocket lint, all the dirt. With the blade open, I'm going to close the blade, clean the back of this, scrub it real good. You guys see how nasty that's getting? And go through it with a clean, dry one, and just pick up anything that I missed with that last one. And again, I want to do this with the blade open. I want to do it with the blade half open. This is going to allow me to reach all these different spots on there. want to do it with it fully closed. That'll give me access to the top of that and the stop and everything, and get out all the gunk. Okay, so you can see how much that one's still dirty, but it's quite a bit cleaner. I'll wipe off some of this extra here just because I don't want to be handling an oily, slippery knife. That's not good. Not always the best when it comes to safety, but I certainly try. We got the bulk of that oil off of there. I don't know if you guys can, oh, my mic's over here. I don't know if you guys can hear this. There is something in that pivot. So I'm going to flush this. I spraying some oil directly on that and see if that'll work loose. And I just heard the sound change. So whatever it is came out. And now look at that. How dark that oil is coming out of there now. Okay. And it's getting a lot better. Now, as many of you know, fit and finish is what takes something that is, I don't know, maybe what somebody would consider cheap or something that is more affordable. It oftentimes puts a higher price tag on it. When the difference between a Chevy and a Cadillac is fit and finish. So now that it's clean and I can hear that difference, while this is all loose, I'm going to get some of my grease in there. And I used way more than I need. I didn't expect it to come out like that. So I will just gather some of this up for another knife that is already clean. We will put that in there for later. Okay. So I'm going to start working this down the best I can, get it all around that pivot. You can do a full tear down. But this will work just fine. Push the blade to the other side. And I got none on that side. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna, with it loose still, going to start working that down in there. It sounds all rattly like that because it is so loose. But once you feel that change, you know that grease is getting into that pivot. What is the big spray bottle? This bottle here is just CLP. It's for cleaning and lubricating, protecting. That's what it stands for. CLP stands for clean, lube, and protect. And it is for pew-pews. But I find it works very good for knives, and it has a better price tag on it than the stuff for knives. This one is made by a company called Top Duck Products. Okay, so now that we got that worked in there, if you remember when we started, this knife blade was all cocked off to one side when it was closed. And we like to have a nice centered blade. And a piece of paper is going to be our fix for that. And it's not going to be some cheap paper shim that we leave in the knife. I'll show you here what we're going to do. I'll fold this up. We're going to start tightening our pivot back down. Yep. And it did fall a little bit better, but you can see it's still off to that side. It's favoring that side. And we want it to be centered. Because if it's off to the side like that, that means when it's opening and closing, it's rubbing the inside of that knife frame. So we want it centered like this. So the fix for that is to, with this fairly loose, take a piece of paper, we're going to fold it up just big enough that we can get it wedged in there next to the knife blade. And we want it pretty tight, so that's too loose. So I'll fold that over again. And now let's see. I actually want to go to the other side. Camera being reversed messed me up there. I'm going to come in from this side. I'm going to wedge this in there. Like so. And then I will tighten my pivots down. And I'm going to tighten them down pretty snug. Almost too snug for this knife to open. You see how they didn't want to throw open it first time, but that time it did. That time it did. And look where our knife blade is. Right in the middle. So now no more rubbing on either side. You guys can hear that. Put it up to the mic here. Nice and quiet now. So you guys can see how that is starting to liquefy on there. That's just from working back and forth, and then just work that pivot. Now it's open it nice and smooth again. The blade is tight and there's no wiggle. and the blade closes right in the center. The tip of your blade should be in the middle. If it's pushed all off to one side, your blade needs to be tuned. So this could actually take just a hair more tightening. And at this point now, if you see your blade tip moves due to tightening, if you back it off just a hair, you will see it move right back where you had it. Nice and crisp. That's how it should sound when it opens. There should be no grit, there should be no grinding. So we'll get this wiped down. I do not dig in there and get the extra off the rest of the blade, just the exposed part of the blade, so I'm not spreading it around. Because it does spread like anti-seize until it's all liquefied. But it cleans up nice. There you go. Sharpened, tuned, and clean. Appalachia, yes, we just centered a blade. We sharpened a bunch of blades and did some cleaning, and we just centered this blade. It was off pretty bad and scraping the whole side real nice. Looks beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. So this one here, we'll finish lubing up. So being that you knew that we were sharper centering blades, I'm guessing you are a pocket knife guy, Appalachia. It depends on which part of the mountain range you are from, whether you say Appalachia or Appalachia. I myself was born up in the northern parts. I was born in Appalachians up there in New York. I'm a fixed blade dude. I'm a free pocket. Fixed blades are cool. So see this one here? I mean, it could be centered better. Actually, it really couldn't be centered better. That's a bit of a shadow that's making it look that way. But, you know, when we started with that first one, it was all the way over the side like this. So that opens it real nice now. Just a little bit of that lube on there. This is just a push button. So there's just a little roller bearing. Appalachia, yep. It's a reverse flick when you flick it out there with your forefinger or your middle finger. Good to be able to work a knife. If you're not using a fixed blade, good to be able to work a knife with more than just your one thumb. You never know when something's going to happen to that thumb or to that finger, and you got to switch to a different one. So it's good to practice using different digits for different things. Okay, so we are clean and sharp there. That one is clean and sharp. Bamboozle is sharp, but we could do with a quick clean out. All it has in it is some little bit of carving dust. And if there's carving dust in there, that means there's most likely dirt in there. I lost the tip. There we go. This one just got the Milcom not long ago, so I'm not going to add that again because this stuff is long lasting. Columbia River knife and tool. This is the Bamboozled. This is a Ken Onion Jr. design. If you guys know who Ken Onion is, he's done a lot of knife designs for a lot of different companies. It's another Columbia River knife and tool. This is the Columbia River CEO. Very sleek. And, you know, when you've got this tucked in your shirt pocket and you've just got this little clip sticking out, it looks like an ink pen sticking in your pocket. Am I still in Appalachia? No, I'm in Michigan now. So again, we're just going to clean just the carving dust out. That's all this has been used for since it got its last sharpening and cleaning, was carving. So I don't really have to worry about sand or anything like that. Just a little bit of light fine dirt and some wood dust. And they clean up quick and easy inside. You guys can see that reflection in there. They clean up real nice. Again, when you're take your time when you're cleaning, work your knife in different positions because it's swinging in a handle. So when you get down here, there's going to be areas that you can't clean with it open, you can't clean with it closed. But when it is in between, you can most certainly get to it. Turkish. Okay. How do you say that name? Sajinton? Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but welcome in. That's the Columbia River CEO. They do a good job, Columbia River Knife and Tool. They do a real good job, and they offer a nice blade for a good price. I definitely don't know that I would call them a budget knife, but they are budget prices, if that makes any sense. You know, in comparison, this knife is much nicer than this Gerber, and this Gerber costs twice what this knife did, if that tells you anything. So they offer a nice quality, well, a tool. A knife is a tool. So they offer a quality tool at a really good price, but it's not built like a budget tool. You know, in comparison, I would not say the same thing about a little Pittsburgh set if I put it up against, you know, a Klein set or a, you know, something like that, a Craftsman set. These are just these little pads that are supposed to go on the clamps for the kitchen knives to keep them from slipping and to keep from marring up. But what I do is use a piece of painter's tape on the spine of the knife, because the first set of these that were on there, they really didn't last. Oh, I have friends up there. They're up near Flint. Okay, yeah. No, right where that's at. So I will finish getting my box packed here. And I put everything back in my box except for this bottle. I don't trust a bottle like this, even with the cap on, not to leak all over inside of my case. Actually, you know what? I suppose if I put it in a Ziploc, it'll be okay. So that is what I'm going to do. Slide this in a bag. That way, if by chance something does leak, it is all trapped in the bag. Okay, so there we go. We've got the knife sharpener itself, the two halves of the knife handle. I've got my little screwdriver kits, our cleaner, and then we've got our box with our angle guides, or our angle finders rather, and all of our stone cleaners, stuff like that, our Millicom lube, this stuff. This is some of the best stuff here. Merchant, thanks for coming in. Are you a troll? I'm a troll. I'm from well below the bridge. I'm from just north of Detroit. Merchant, we just got done doing a bunch of knives. I can show you what we were working on. There's a fixed angle knife sharpening system that I was using to take care of some knives. We did some blade centering, getting blades back in the middle where they belong, the tips of those blades. And we also did some mirror polishing on the bevels. Those turned out nice. This is just a cheap little Ozark trail knife, but I don't know if you can hear now. That's my mic there. I don't know if you can hear. There's like no noise now when it opens up. It's just smooth. Swings open nice. So, you know, this is Christmas time. This is an $8, $10 knife. And when you get it, it's clunky. The blade is loose, which now it's not. I mean, you can see there is no wiggle. It locks up secure. It's centered. It's got mirror finish on there. And I mean, just listen to that. All you hear is the click after the blade comes out. No scraping or anything. So, I mean, if you were to go buy a knife like this that was already fit and finished like that, you're probably looking $70 or more. I mean, you're looking 10 times the money, you know, close to, over one that's just thrown together. And that's the big difference in a lot of these companies. So, for example, this is an Ozark Trail. That is a push button, but it comes and it's a lot more rigid in the blade section. Like it's a lot tighter there. It doesn't wobble, and it's made out of a little bit different steel. I do prefer the D2 blades, but this one is a 12C27 stainless. So when you get away from the tool steels and get more into the stainless like that, you know, now you're looking at like a $20 knife, and the only difference was is they spent more time. The same company, $8 to $10 knife, $20 knife, and only difference is they took a little bit of time with this knife and not with this knife. Now, having said that, you go into a company like Columbia River. This knife is $70. When you get this knife, it already has a nice fit and finish. But as you can see by the gap there, it is still favoring the one side. It's really over that way too far. So that could do with a centering. But it is repeating, and it is not hitting. You can still see the light going through there. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of that one. Next time I clean it, I will definitely center the blade. Actually, you know what? I've got everything right here. I might as well just do it now. So we got a T8 there. So to center the blade, loosen your pivot so that your blade starts getting sloppy. We're going to close it up. You can see now that it's loose, how much it favors that side. So we are going to, where did I put my little piece of paper? So now I'm going to take a little piece of paper. I'm going to get this blade over wedged hard against the opposite side. So now it's touching this opposite side. And I'm going to tighten my pivot back down. When I pull this, you see my blade is now in the middle. So now what I want to do is check to make sure that it's opening right. And you see how I didn't throw open all the way? So what I will do is start backing this off. I'm going to back my pivot off just until I see that blade tip move a little bit. And that blade tip just moved a hair, so I'll run it right back to center And I'll try the blade again. There we go. So now it's opening nice. Opening nice. I mean, every time. And the blade is nice and center. So if you keep up on your knife maintenance, it's they're gonna last you a long time. I mean, this is an old knife. It's a junky knife. I mean, it's been abused. The clip has been broken off so many times that is all super glue and baking soda holding the clip on because the screws are all stripped out. So it wouldn't even hold the clip on, but that's how tough baking soda and super glue is. And the serrations were horrible on that, so those got cut down. They're still there, but I took the tops off of all of them. They really didn't like the way they were, and I made the serrations kind of my own. Yeah, no soldering gun, just some baking soda and some super glue. I mean, I have a soldering gun, but we've got a aluminum handle there. We've got a steel clip, spring steel clip. So I am happy with it. And this had a horrible lock here. This lock is awful. So now the blade's locked. Can't do anything with it. But now the blade is unlocked. So there's a flipper. And then this is the lock to unlock the flipper. So that breaks it and lets it fall loose. So this is, I believe, called the Gerber Highbrow. I'm actually keeping my eye out for one of these in a smooth blade because I would like to replace this and not beat the heck out of it. It's not a light knife, a pretty bulky knife, but it feels really good in the hand. I mean, you really know you're holding on to something. So I think that is it for today. I'm going to get everything packed back up here. And get myself something to eat. Because, you know, I said I was going to do that quite a while ago and still haven't. I'll put this away. Put my dark brown glasses away. Yeah, and then everything packs up into this guy here. So I've got it ready to go with me wherever. But I think that's it for me today, guys. Well, for now, skadoob. You have a good one. Everyone else have a great day. And take care of yourself. Class dismissed.